Miss P, be forbidden. Alert.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Renee Rentmeester. I'm the creator and executive producer of the Cooking Without Looking TV show and podcast. And today we have someone from all the way from Toronto. We have Donna Jodhan. Donna, welcome.
Thank you very much, Renee, for having me. It's a pleasure and a privilege. Thank you.
Oh, of course, of course. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself. Were you blind from birth?
I was blind from birth. I had an unusual birth in that I was born 8 hours after my twin brother. No one knew
Wow.
that I was on my way. When he was born, the midwife said, "Well, Mrs. Jodhan, another one is on its way." And mom and dad freaked and they said, "Well, call the doctor." And she refused to call the doctor because she wanted the honor of delivering twins. So 8 hours later, I came out into the world. Mom took one look at me and she said, "This child has eye problems." A midwife refused to acknowledge that, but mom was right. So I was born with little or no vision, very little, but I used it well. I could identify colors and shadows and light.
Sure.
I could find my way around if I knew where I was going. And then when I was a teenager, I had a cornea transplant that changed my whole world. And for 25 years, I lived in another world. And then one day, the my retina detached in three places, and I lost almost all of my sight, which was 20 years ago. And this is where I am today.
Wow. Well, at the time, like, what did you think? Were you in college or like, it sounds like you were, just getting started in life.
I was just getting started in life, born as with little to no vision as a child. And then when I was finishing high school, going into college, I got my cornea transplant, and it was amazing. I mean, I can't begin to tell you how much I discovered and how much color meant to me and everything else. It was wonderful.
And what happened when you lost that again? Sort of like what went through your mind? What were you thinking?
I kind of thought, how could this be happening to me? And now I got to pick up the pieces and I got to move on. I mean, yes, I was very sad. Yes, I cried and cried about it, but I had to be strong. And, my mom was my best supporter. She kept saying, let's move on. And were it not for her, I don't know how I would have gotten through the trauma of losing the vision. But, I readjusted to it. And then one day a friend of mine said to me, she said, "Donna, you probably have lost your vision for a good reason." And I said, "Oh gosh, what is the reason?" She said, she said, she said, "You know what? You are now in the midst of suing the Canadian government over its inaccessible websites. And you would not have appreciated what it's all about had you not lost your vision." And I remember these words, and this is what has carried me through. I lost my vision for a reason. And yeah, I miss my vision. I miss colors. I miss seeing faces. Like one of the first things I saw um, when I got my new vision was one morning I woke up and there standing on either side of me was my mom and my dad. And I looked up and I saw their faces and I thought, oh my gosh, I can see their faces. And
Wow.
I got up, I ran to the bathroom, I looked in the mirror and I thought, oh my gosh, I look just like mom. And I started to cry, but I never told them anything. I mean, it was amazing. That was the best experience of my life.
Wow. So you were like in high school when you first saw what you look like?
Finishing high school, getting ready to go into college.
Wow. That's really hard to imagine.
Yeah.
So did you put makeup on and stuff like that before you or or the way you did your hair? How did you do that before you got your sight?
Um, that's a very good question. I don't think I ever wore makeup, but if I did, my mom taught me how to, apply the lipstick.
Hmm.
And, like she would describe things to me all the way. So I had a somewhat of an impression as to, how things would work. But the strange thing is that when I got my sight, I was able to identify so many things. I don't know how I did it. I could read with letters. I could see objects. I could identify what those objects were. And my doctor sent me to a psychologist in Boston to figure out what the hell was going on. And it was then suggested that because of my genetics, I was able to do all these things without learning.
Wow, that's really interesting. I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
Huh. So you gained your sight,
Hmm.
but for the most part, you had no sight before that. But then when you gained your sight, you knew the letters and everything.
Yeah, I knew what the letters were. I remember one morning sitting beside my dad on the couch, and in the Montreal Gazette were the headlines, "The Canadians win the Stanley Cup." And I was reading it to him, and he says, "What the hell is this?" And I was reading it. I remember sitting next to him, and he was amazed. So was I.
Wow. So your twin had nothing wrong with their eyes.
No, he was fine.
That's interesting. Wow. So what was I going to say? Well, that's amazing. So did you sue the Canadian government for inaccessible websites?
I sure did. And I won. Me and
Wow.
my team and I won in 2012. But there's still a lot of work to be done. And that was one of the highlights of my life. And then in 2015, I led a campaign to convince the Canadian government to have an Accessible Canada Act, and that was enacted in 2019.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Now,
Yeah.
for our listeners in the background, what we're hearing is that your Jaws?
This is my NVDA, and I have to keep shutting him up because, and I do apologize for that because
No,
I
no,
can't
no.
get to it in time. So there you go.
We learn
Sorry.
we learn from everything here. That's the purpose, you know. And
Yeah.
so you're just a trailblazer.
Well, that's what people call me. I just like to think, like my mission in life is to make sure that the future of our kids is a better one than the one that I've had. That is my mission for the rest of my life. And I am engaged in creating and developing camps for kids who are about to leave high school and youngsters who are now entering the workforce. I'm going to teach them that believing is achieving, and I'm going to provide them with tools to help them out, like build their confidence, their independence, build their virtues, show them how to make their personal and professional profiles such that they would be, people would take notice of them. And I have two camps coming up, one at the end of July. I'll be working with Dr. Alan Chase on the I Retreat camp. And I just got sponsorship to hold another camp next year at the I Retreat camp. I've gotten possible sponsorship from Air Canada to
Oh,
fly people to or fly participants to this camp. And Dr. Allen has said that he would take care of the accommodation. So that's for next July. And then 2 days ago, I was asked to submit another proposal for a camp in Quebec, Camp Massawippi, that would be held next year. And again, I don't have all the details, but I'll be working on that. So I am over the moon right now.
oh my God, that's so tremendous, Donna. Now, are these camps for children with visual impairments, or is it a combo sighted as well? What kind of kids are there?
Basically, or mainly for kids who are blind and vision impaired.
Mhm.
is where I want to start.
Okay, okay, that sounds wonderful. And how do you find the people that work with them?
Well, to start with, in the case of the first camp, Dr. Allen would be helping me to get these participants, but also in Quebec, there is a foundation called the Quebec Foundation of the Blind or for the Blind, and they hand out bursaries every year to deserving students. So we're hoping that these students would be interested to go to that camp next July. And in the case of the second one, we have to work again on finding participants. So I have a lot to do.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you're gonna be busy, busy, busy. Now,
Yeah.
you also have do you have a cooking show, a podcast? What was that again?
I developed a podcast called Dining with Donna. And I have to tell you, it was my associate, Erin DeBlazy, who kept saying, oh, people love to eat. People love to cook. People love to eat. And I kept saying,
They have to eat.
Erin, stop. Anyways, I started this, and every week I had recipes and I had, tips for the kitchen and stuff like that. But last year, after my business ran into problems, thanks to you know who, I had to put this podcast on hold. But since January, I've had you and my Dining with Donna podcast. Last week, I think I had Deborah Erickson. And
Oh,
I'm hoping to find a
the
way to
blind kitchen.
revive this. Sorry?
The blind kitchen,
The
Deborah.
blind kitchen, yeah. And I'm looking for a way to revive this podcast. I don't know how. Maybe you and I could chat about this offline. I don't know.
Well, there are all sorts of ways, and the thing is, the marketing of everything has gotten so much easier and at least inexpensively. Like you can market to all the different blindness groups that are there.
Mhm.
And and also, like what we like to do is like we sort of mix it up with the blind and the sighted because a lot of the things, the tips and the things that can be used for both and makes it sense for both, groups. It's a way of bringing us all together, isn't it?
It is. I mean, it's a marvelous way to bring the sighted and the blind together. It's a unique way. It works. But I just have to find a way to bring back my Dining with Donna podcast. I don't know how to do it yet, but I gotta think.
Well, what is probably the lesson of your life so far?
Keep on fighting. Keep on fighting for what you believe in, but be professional about it and do not feel entitled. Entitlement could get you into very big trouble.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just jotting this down, but that's what you have to do. You have to do it. And I think when people feel entitled, and then when people listen to a person who feels entitled, it turns people off and they don't want to help anymore.
Well, I agree. And I always remember the lessons that my granny and my mom said to me when I was a kid. The world owes you nothing. You have
Mhm.
to fit into this world. You have to find a way to do it. And they were right.
Right,
No,
right,
absolutely.
exactly. Just saying that, well, I'm blind or I'm visually impaired or, whatever disability, it doesn't really open doors. We always have to
No,
kick open our own doors, right?
right, right. That's very true.
Yeah, it is. And no matter who we are, you have to do that. You have to
Yeah.
stand up for yourself and it's it's always educating people too. I think that helps.
Well, I think feeling entitled is a very dangerous rabbit hole to go down. Ask Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. He'll tell you. I mean, he felt entitled, you
Let's
know?
hope he actually learned a lesson here, but somehow I think maybe he even didn't.
I don't know if he's learned a lesson. I don't know, but I think a lot of people, and I have a lot of friends in the UK who said to me he felt entitled and he was the Queen's favorite son. So I don't know. I really
Wow.
don't know.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was.
And he was always like a party animal. He was like the
Yeah, a buffoon.
yeah. Between William and his brother, it was his brother who was sort of the party animal.
Yeah, yeah. I
Hmm.
don't know.
Oh, well, Donna, tell us about your recipe, the lamb.
I chose this recipe, Renee, because it's good for a nice cold day. I like lamb, and it's another way to cook lamb. So what I do is I always gather my implements together first, and then I gather my ingredients, and then I'm ready to go because I really don't like bustling back and forth between the pantry cupboard and the drawer and the counter and everything.
Right.
So I put my implements to one corner of the counter. And here are the implements that I would use for this recipe. I have a knife for slicing,
Hmm.
a gadget for dicing and chopping, a gadget for mincing. I need measuring cups. I need measuring spoons. I need a crock pot. I need a spoon for stirring. I need a whisk. I need a small bowl and my favorite paper towels. I say it is my favorite, excuse me, because you always need paper towels in your kitchen to clean up your spills, to wipe your hands, to wipe the tops of jars and bottles and boxes. Like paper towels, I can't do without these things. I need them.
Well, what is your favorite brand?
Oh boy, Bounty.
Oh, there you go. I could have guessed it. I was gonna guess it off the top of my head, but I would have guessed as much.
Okay. So I put all these implements to one corner of the kitchen. And now I look at putting or gathering my ingredients. I need 2 cups of sliced mushrooms, one large bell pepper, and you got to dice it, one large carrot, and you have to cut it into 1 to 1.5 inch thick slices. You need one large leek, the white part only, and chop it, okay?
Mm.
One small new potato, unpeeled and diced. One small parsnip, cut into 1/2 inch thick slices. Some people don't like parsnips. I do.
Yeah.
One clove of garlic, minced. 1/2 cup of chicken broth. 1/2 teaspoon of dried thyme. 1/4 teaspoon of dried rosemary. 1/8 teaspoon of black pepper. 12 ounces of lamb shoulder meat, and you got to cut this into 1 inch pieces. 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and this is optional. Those are my ingredients, and now we are ready to make. Are you ready?
I'm ready. It sounds really good. I was mixing it in my head.
So now you got to place the mushrooms.
Gravy in
The,
my hair.
oh, you got, you got to place the mushrooms, the bell pepper, the carrot, the leek, the potato, the parsnip, and the garlic into the crock pot. Add your broth, your thyme, your rosemary, and pepper, and stir it around. Then you add your lamb. Then you cook on low for 6 to 7 hours. Whisk 2 tablespoons of the liquid from the crock pot into let's try it again. Whisk 2 tablespoons of liquid from the crock pot into some flour in a small bowl. Then you stir the flour mixture into the crock pot, cover it up, and cook on low for 10 minutes. Stir in the salt if you desire. This makes 4 yummy servings.
Oh, that sounds good. And it's a great winter treat too.
Yeah.
You can put it on like before you go to work in the morning or at night, while you're sleeping, put it on and wake up.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
Good. I hope you try it.
Oh, I will. It's funny. We were just talking about, I have had very little lamb in my life. I think I've had it twice in my entire life. And now you give me a reason to try it again because I do love any slow cooker type thing.
Right.
And I don't think I've ever had parsnips.
It's a different taste. It's a different texture, but give it a whirl and see what you think.
Well, what's funny is you were saying that the leeks, you only put the white part in, and
Yeah.
I think that most of us always just put the green part in.
Right. Right. But
So
this
what's the
recipe calls,
difference?
I don't think there's much of a difference, but this recipe called for the white part and not the green part.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because what's funny? I had some green onions the other day, and as I'm cutting them, I'm remembering my mom saying, "Oh no, you never put the white part in," and
Mm.
I'm like, "I just put the whole thing in. Like I did. It wasn't like you're gonna be poisoned or something putting the white part in." So there was like always this big thing about not putting the white part in. Just put the green part.
Okay. I don't really know. I mean, like I followed this recipe. I've done it once or twice and it came out fine, but left up to my own devices, I'd probably put the whole darn thing in there.
Right, exactly, exactly. Are
Yeah.
you one for like making the recipe your own?
Sometimes I do, like it might say, don't do this or do that. And what the hell with this? I'm going to try that.
I like this better.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So what one thing would you tell people? I know you have the keep on fighting for what you believe, but what would you tell people who would just, maybe they've just gone blind or like you, my gosh, you got your eyesight back and then you lost it again. What kind of mindset should we have?
Be ready for change. Like sometimes change is unexpected. Be ready to be flexible. Patience. Patience is one thing that I think a lot of blind and vision impaired people really need to develop. You must be patient. You must not give up easily. I know it's easier said than done, but you see, I had 2 marvelous parents, mom and dad, and a granny, and they believed in me. I mean, there were times my mom probably thought I was nuts anyways. She never told me, but she was the disciplinarian, and I believe in discipline. I believe in being well organized. And it's even more important as someone who is blind or vision impaired to be organized, to be disciplined, to be professional. Those are the words that come to my mind right now.
Yes. And now if someone wants to reach out to you, how do they reach out to you?
Write to me at donnajodhan@gmail.com. So that's DONNAJODHAN, one word, at gmail.com.
And all of you who are listening can look for Donna's recipe for the lamb stew on our website at www.cookingwithoutlookingtv.wordpress.com. trailblazer.com. If that's a little long for you, just Google Cooking Without Looking TV show and it'll bring you right up. Also, we have aprons for sale, the official Cooking Without Looking apron. You can go to our website and there's a PayPal link right at the top of the page. You can click on that and it's $55. It's our foundation fundraiser. And within 3 to 4 weeks, you will have your own official Cooking Without Looking apron. And again, Donna, thank you so much for helping us change the way we see blindness. It's really been a pleasure.
It's been my privilege and my pleasure. And I want to thank you, Renee. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Take care now and stay warm.
You too.
All right.